Alright, basically this screen here is a blueprint screen. So what you got here is, this is the bulldozer, little bulldozer here is me wherever I am on the job site. So when I'm moving, the little bulldozer moves. So how is that advantage? It's always telling where you are as fast as you're moving. This is called the blueprint screen. You can see the black line here is the center line. Our line would be edge of road. And this would be edge of shoulder. And then you have, you can see the bulldozer moving. I'll move towards the center line there. This allows us to know where everything's going as instantly as we're cutting it. They have another screen here called the cross-section screen, which I'll change to. This cross-section screen here is what this does. This black line here is finished grade of our job site. The box on there is my dozer blade. So as we're cutting or filling, if I bring this the box, which is my dozer blade, you can see it moving up now. That box is moving on this screen. What's that allowing me to do is get this to grade instantly as we're putting it in. And this way I know what's going on. The difference that you can see here, I'll go to the ditch over here in a second. Or I'll show you we're cutting it out with a backhoe. And as he's cutting it, I can put it to grade. It's coming over there now. So instead of staking it 3 to 4 times, it's a one-shot deal. It actually never has to be staked. Main thing for staking is mainly for letting guys know where to strip topsoil if this ain't on chip. You can see now, I'll zoom it in for you guys. I'm cutting this in, and you can take a picture of the backhoe here. He's cutting it right ahead of me. And you can see it's about a 9-foot cut. And it'd be nearly impossible to cut this out here with stakes in here, because the stakes would be gone within a couple buckets. So as you see here, I'm going forward. As he's cutting it, I'm putting it to grade. This allows him to know where I'm at. He doesn't question anything. You can see as I doze a path here, and he's able to cut exactly what we need to cut out. Other thing to explain is, so this is a ditch, so topsoil, let's say we're putting 6/10 in here. This red line in right now, I got an offset of 6/10. I can move this with the push of a couple buttons right here by my hand, and I'm adjusting it right here. You can see that 3, 2, now I'm almost to 0 there. So if I want to go back to 6/10 because I'm in a ditch, all I'm doing is pushing these buttons. So for the guy running a dozer, he can come in here and cut this ditch in, get Marty squared away, and then I can buzz back to other people cutting roads. Right now because of the sand is pretty fluffy, but basically it's called the cross-section screen. The advantage of this is when you got bigger fill areas, like you come onto an area and see I've got 6 feet of fill for a good stretch of area, and it's a dead area. So if we have some material that maybe it's not horrible material, but you don't want to put it in a road base, you can find these areas a lot easier also, whether it be just too sandy or not stony enough. It allows us to be more efficient with where we're putting our fill. As you can see there, we just built a little path. This was a big pile of sand a second ago. Now it's not what we call a finished product, obviously, because it needs a little touching up. But it gives Marty a rough idea. This is pretty close, within a 1/10 or 2 of what he needs to follow. So he knows he has to cut that out as we're going. So now I can just zoom back up here. Just do a rough guess. So let's say, I'm going to go back back to so if, for instance, if I can zoom this back to my offsets, which is, this has, job site has roughly a 2-foot fill to finish grade, so I'm going to lower this here to 1/8, which is roughly 2 foot. With settling, it'll be pretty close. Alright, so we'll start closing forward. I'll zoom out a little bit because I want to see the whole road, see what's going on. So what I mean by the whole road, here's your ditch, and here's your road. Here's the crown of the road, which would be your center line roughly, and here's the slope. The ditch has got to get built over there. So as I'm dozing here through here, if I was working, I couldn't be here for a while, and I had to go back and go somewhere else. I could look at my crews running this I can tell them as we go, you know, what I got to do. Again, I would say 1 foot down, basically 1, 2, 1, 4, 5. 1 foot, and I can say, wow, great, I just need to work. That's roughly 1 foot down. When he gets closer to that, I would come back with this dozer and obviously put it in the crane. Okay, you can see we're a little lower. So, there we go. You can see we're a little bit lower here. Just a little bit before I need to be here 100%. But it allows everyone to see just by 1 minute of coming over here, they can see what's going on. So here's another way. We didn't have to use it quite for this one, but if we wanted to come in and set this culvert in, another screen is here. I can pretty much run around anywhere with this dozer, even if we don't have the blueprint screen and tell an elevation. So I could run over here and tell Marty, so we'll switch screens here, main fall, cross slope, basically tell me what's going on. Elevation of my left right now, because I have the cursor, which I'll go back and show you, it'll be right here. This box here, and then you got, this is your cursor. I have it moved to the left side of the dozer, which would be that side, so that's going to be my reading. So if I would switch back to here, and there was no culvert here, I could come in and say, Marty, you're at, or whoever's setting the culvert here, you're at, as you see, I move it up and down, and the elevation is changing. Just touch the culvert. This is roughly 2.20. So you could use this to, they were going to set culvert across the road, where we're just starting. I could run up there and get them that elevation for staking, and you wouldn't have to be moving benchmarks all over. As you can see, he'll show you the hole we cut through this mountain or hill. As we cut it out, we basically put it to grade. This is basically our road going down through here. So instead of cutting it, was roughly 10 some foot cut, sometimes it was 15 feet. What this allows you, as you're cutting it, you're putting it to grade, so you don't have to pay someone to have to stake it as we go. And obviously we can't hold a stake 20 feet or 15 feet up in the air, because if you do that, it's going to fall. It's going to be gone. So it's a one-shot deal. You cut it in and you put it to grade. This is why it's more efficient than having a person come and stake it, because there's no questions. Everyone on site has a question. It's right here. You can run over with basically and get, if we had an operation going down there, which we did before, if you see down by the barrels, we were filling. So to keep that guy on target, you did buzz down and explain to him where we needed fill. That's good. Ready? Yeah. Alright, these are also the tree. What this is telling me how close I am when I'm cutting this in. For instance, probably more of a thing for finished grade of gravel and whatnot. This is subgrade right now, so it's not as critical. We're going to be using this as our haul road, so it is going to get disturbed a little bit and messed up. But as you can see, as I go down closer to grade, my green dots go away. If I was perfectly on, which I'm a 10 tie right now, which isn't barely anything, by the time we come back next fall, it'll probably settle that much. But as I bring my blade up, for instance, if I have cutting here, it'll show you that you see the dots coming up. And you can see it here on the screen, which I'll zoom in. There. And And if you have a question on where you are, here you can see now the ditches are totally changing. That's part of also the advantage of it. As I'm moving, this thing is changing for me, and it helps everyone else visualize what's going on. So one more time, that's a frontal wheel telling me where I am headed forward. You can see my red line is my 1.8 offset, finish grade is black line. The other screen again, once we just moved from where we were, is basically here we are at station. Just buzz up here, so go up to station 55. So they got it in half too, 55 and 50. Just tell me if we had any questions about pipes. We need to put a pipe in. Where exactly is it? It's at station 55 or 30 feet from 55. Here you can see 55. I can back up a touch to be perfect. We are roughly about a foot away from center line on the right corner of my blade. Just for instance, you can see, I'll show you as I move the Bulldozer. Always tell me where I am on site.